Welcome to the Magma Classroom. This particular classroom series focuses on the basics of digital painting, starting with the fundamentals of value, shapes, light, and color. We've done a good few apples and spheres already in previous lessons, tried our hands at some more interesting still life studies, broken down simple landscapes, and even run a gauntlet of timed exercises to speed up the learning process. This weekly hangout is intended for the determined beginner, and we'll take our time to explore each subject and learn together. I'm your host Ryan, the resident painter and caffeinated Wookiee at Magma, and while I grab a tea refill here, you can find all the instructions for joining me on the canvas in the description below. Ready your drawing tablet, we'll be getting started shortly. Welcome to the classroom. I am said caffeinated Wookiee, Ryan, and I do have said refill of tea right here with me. So, alrighty. Today we're doing another still life study. These are great exercises to figure out lighting, texture, composition, and we've got some reference here that has some fabric folds, which we looked at last week. And just to quickly revisit, actually, we had some great, not last week, it was the week before. We took a break last week. We had some great contributions last week to the classroom. Here we have Adina doing some great work here, representing those references really accurately. Who we do have here? Everest as well. Awesome. We got Nexus taking some inspiration from our reference here and adding his own little thing, unique twist. And Radek, part of the Magma team, and Eyebrow. Ooh, nice. I like those nice saturated colors in there. So great stuff from our attendees in the last classroom. This week it's all about the still life again. So yeah, welcome to those on YouTube, Flat Earth. Jonathan, thank you very much for joining. Anyone watching who wants to join in on the action today, the instructions are in the Canvas description below, and you'll first need to join the Classroom Artspace. And then from there, you can follow the link to the Canvas. So I figured today, I haven't made a particularly big canvas, but perhaps two people can claim one of the ones in the sequence that we have, like two per canvas, perhaps, or you can have one to yourself. That's totally chilled as well. I just thought it might be nice to work on the same canvas as some other peeps. So yeah, let's hide this. Let's show our reference for today. So we got this nice clay vessel pot thing, jug. There's a mug hidden in the darkness behind it. And got to have some fruit in there, and then some fabric folds where you can apply a bit of what we covered last time. Let's get my brush active here. So if you are watching, you do notice that the stream freezes at any particular point. Just let me know. Oh, you don't have permissions? Okay, sorry. I always forget that when I add extra canvases to the sequence. So let me sort that out quickly. Add remove layers. You should be good to go now. I'll do the same on the others. Appreciate the patience. Da, 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 da. Yeah, see Radex join us again. Nice to have you here. Let's see. So we've got plenty of room. Maybe I should put some music on while I'm at it. Something really chilled out. Don't want to have something too lively like our epic adventure music that was played at the end of last night's or yesterday morning, depending on what time zone you're in. The Clubhouse session, which was fantastic, by the way. We had such a great turnout. Really awesome work being done under the theme of Mermaid. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to head back over to the first canvas. We got some piano tunes here for some classical still life painting. So the first thing I like to do so those of you who've been doing this for a little while, you've been joining our previous classroom sessions, you probably already know how to go about starting, but for anyone that's watching, that's joining for the first time, or is catching up a little later with the stream, I will still explain a bit of my process as I go along. It'll slow down my painting a little bit while I explain everything, but I'll just show you how I go about approaching these. And it's something I've been talking about in other videos. But remember that these are for learning. That's what the classroom is for. Don't get too frustrated with yourself. Take your time. These sessions are meant to be just relax, give you the time to figure things out, experiment. One condition I do kind of have you don't have to follow it, but I do think it's good practice not to color pick from your reference. Try to find the color on your color wheel. That just helps to train your eyes to better be able to pick out the specific color when you're looking at it in front of you. We've got to start like training our eyes to find the colors and understand what we're actually seeing, particularly when it comes to color temperature and the shadows changing color and the light being a certain color. It is quite easy to just color pick off the reference, but you're not thinking about whether or not that shadow is cooler in color or is it warmer. So those kinds of things, you kind of want to train yourself to always keep them in mind, and things come a little easier. It's difficult in the beginning, but what you can do is use your eyedropper just to gauge what's happening with your reference. So we can see on this jug over here what happens when we move towards the shadows. Yes, it gets darker, but it gains a little bit of saturation. It stays on the warm side of things, but as we move towards the lights, it loses saturation and shifts a little bit, even along the hue. It shifts ever so slightly towards the cooler color range, just towards a more pinkish red instead. So yeah, use the tools to assist you, but don't lean too heavily in that you actually just color pick from the reference. Okay, I'm going to try not to zoom in too much. Always good to start zoomed out. Let's move my reference over a little bit, because it is easy to get stuck into details, unnecessary details. The first thing I want to do is just make a selection here with one of our selection tools. Excuse me. And let's see, I want to kind of work from back to front and from the reference here. So I want to lay down the overall color and texture of the background. So like I said before, if you want to figure out what's going on with the color, I can tell it's a kind of greenish gray, but we can confirm that by using the eyedropper. There's a nice little streak of blue that comes in here, but you'll notice that while it looks quite strong, depending on maybe your eyes see it differently, but to me this blue comes out pretty strong, but in terms of saturation, it's quite low. Move to the shadows here. It's a bit on the side. Yeah. But anyway, this overall color is a sort of yellow-green gray. So I'm going to, if I've accidentally selected the color, I'll throw myself off. Pick another color and then find my way back. Let's see here. Open as well. You're welcome to ask questions at any point in the process. It's gray. I'm just going to use the regular round brush, nothing fancy. turn off the pressure sensitivity because we're painting now. Maybe I'll keep my density open. You get a little bit of variation when I lighten things, lighten my stroke a bit. So we had a little bit more warmth in the dark side. Maybe more than that. Let's drop my opacity and all that a little bit just so we can blend out a little bit in that corner. Keeping it very, very rough and block things in. Then we've got this brown wooden table, which sits, if I look here, just sits below the halfway point. So using, let's see. Ooh, I'm drawing on my reference layer. To do. Let's shift that over there. Because I want to be able to isolate this, create a clipping group, so that nothing that I paint goes outside. So I'll keep quite a neat square. Normally I don't do this, I don't mind a little bit of a rough edge, but this time I will. So I'm going to create a new layer. Use this icon here to create a clipping group. Right. And then I can use other selection tools and things over this. Let's see, start here. That's sort of, that's a little too high. Let's move this down. Okay. Eyebrows wasting no time there. So I want to invert this because it's pretty more difficult to add in texture after. Why is my invert not working? Select, invert selection. Okay, it is working. It is working. Never mind. It's going to be yeah, work fast, you can sleep. Eyebrow is hardcore participant here. It's early hours of the morning in his neck of the woods, and but still chooses to come out. So what I'm doing here now, because it's going to be more difficult to add in texture to that wall afterwards, I'm going to add a little bit more now, because once you start putting these other objects in, then you've got to try and work around them to add texture, and it looks like it looks like an afterthought sometimes when you have to try and apply it later. My tea here before it gets cold. I timed it perfectly so that it was ready to drink by the time the stream starts. I don't want to leave it until it gets cold. So I want to add a bit of blue in here. Actually, it should be it's more towards the cooler side. There we go. And this is way more sleepy music for you, Eyebrow. Way more relaxed, chilled, lullaby-ish. So it looks like the shadows do tend towards the warmer side. That's a bit of a grey wall. I've probably gone a bit too far. And then we've got like a bit of greenish color in here. Here's a bit of this, oops, wrong color. Soothing music. I can always switch it to the wild, adventurous battle music. Okay, and the same with the table. It's really dark. and there's stuff placed on top of it. So I want to kind of roughly get those shadows. Oops, I have to, that's why I put a bit of those dark areas in beforehand. At least 5 ghosts? Yeah. You know we have a D&D player in the group when. Okay, so I'm just trying to like get some of these shapes. I'm taking my time here. There's no rush. I said last time we were planning to do just like 1 hour streams, but because we didn't get around to doing one earlier in the week, we'll take our time here. We'll spend 2 hours working through it. You don't have to spend that full time. The opportunity is there to just figure it out, wrestle with the subject. Okay, now we're going to be blocking here. I do want this to be darker up in this edge. So that's a little too intense. Back and forth, such as the painting process. And it is much easier than digitally. And then with oils, I have not worked with since last year. So that's a number of years now. I would like to. Okay, so let's not add funny details here. I'm going to bring in this cloth next. So we've got a eyedropper to find roughly the color range. We've got a mix of sort of yellowy, pale yellowy orange into this sort of more peachy kind of orangey color towards the reds. So I'm going to find, let's just get the shape in first. We don't need to worry about specifics of the color. Let's just get the shape first. I'm going to deselect. Make things full opacity so I can get that shape in properly. So this comes over like this edge. Comes down a little bit, and then over what's the angle that we have here. Okay. That's definitely too bright. So I am actually going to play a little bit of the color. Brightness comes up. The main thing is to get shape. Overall shape. All the other stuff will come later. Fine. We're going to spend some time in the ugly phase. Every painting goes through. It's rough shapes. Things aren't looking so good. Nothing is rendered out, but there's some rough shapes in place. Okay, that'll do for now. Then we've got this. Okay, let's see with this jug. It's obviously a bit redder. Somewhere here, maybe a bit darker. A little bit more orange. Let's see. Good. Okay. Let's saturate that a little bit more, a little darker. That's better. That's better. Okay, so this comes up to. I haven't sketched out yet. So sometimes I like to start with a sketch first so that I can get things proportionally accurate without laying down any paint. But sometimes it's nice to just go straight to paint. higher. Yeah, it actually needs to come over it. So, areas of one layer painting. I can't erase that. I'll paint over. I'm trying to see what sort of angle I've got here. So quite a bit off. I might even have to take this more. I believe I will. Oh, it's definitely foolishness. Absolutely. It's a good challenge, I think. Forces you not to rely on erasing, for one. And you can kind of keep the history of your marks better when you keep those. You have to paint over. When you're working with actual paints, then it's a thing of it all layers on top, and things can get a little bit of a relief look to them, where it starts getting a little bit three-dimensional. Wider here, wider here. Out to front. Hello, it's responding. We've got a storm rolling in, so hopefully that doesn't affect anything. I have to come in a bit. Oh, that's going to have a handle anyway. Oh, I don't know why I struggle with this shape so much. Just let me know as well if at any point my voice gets a little too low, because just the way I've set my microphone, is to try and just block out some of the ambient noise that we have at the moment. But I don't know if my mic in my mouth. Okay, that's all this will do, I think. Then we've got this dark jug in the background, same sort of color and texture. We can't tell too much about. So I'm looking for these points of contact. It's just about the bend. And then we have the handle on it as well. We have the handle on this too. That is actually so funny. When I was having a look at this earlier, and I thought they were lemons. I didn't zoom into the reference at all. But now that I look at it, which explains some of the warm tones, I was like, this is a strange lemon. When in fact, the artist couldn't tell he was trying something. His eyes deceived him. Yeah. Agreed. Little more difficult to just take a bite out of a lemon. All those fun shapes taking forever. We've also got, okay, so we've got this bowl here. It's going to be fun getting this shape in. Oval, just doing a little bit of a ghost streak first, where I make the motions on the tablet first a few times, watch what happens with my cursor to see whether or not when I bring the pen down, it's going to follow that trajectory that I intend for it. Good little practice in the beginning, especially with a screenless tablet. Get comfortable with where your lines are going to appear. I'm not particularly great at drawing ellipses, so doing something like this helps a little bit with the accuracy. Of course, one could also just grab a selection tool and fold that in for a nice neat ellipsis, but no, I like to make it myself. Thank you very much. Okay, so pairs. I know we've got shadow in there on the ball. I'm going to get to all these shadow and light shapes later. What would my ideal still life contain? I think it's always good to have some fabric in, so that's what I like with this. In terms of objects, I like to have a little skull in there somewhere. You can never draw enough skulls from the point of practice. And make sure you're familiar with the subject, the head. What else? Something that can show a bit of perspective lines, so like things like books or a chest or something that does sort of go off a little bit into the distance. Even though there's not much distance that we tend to work with. Ooh, green glass. Yeah, glass is a great one. Colored glass for the obviously you're going to get the reflection of light, but then other stuff comes in, or there's stuff behind it, depending on where things are. So having that translucence is definitely fun to play with. Maybe we will have to do that in one of our next classrooms, something with glass. What else is good? Oh, yes. Painting still life resting on a mirror. That's quite a challenge. That is quite a challenge. It's really cool that, because it sort of flattens the perspective aspect going. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know if I'll bring that sort of thing into the classroom episodes or our sessions here, simply because, or maybe a simple one, or mirrored something in. So it's just the amount of time sometimes that can take. Okay. Dallying here. To get some shadows into things now. So shadows, they look almost black. Yeah, pretty much black. High contrast here. But they shift into the warms. Try and look in between. They're shifting towards the warms. So you're halfway to black here, a little bit towards the red. Roughly get that shape in. Should be a bit rounder. Wouldn't be too intense. But we're going to go back. Some things we're going to add a little more orange, particularly where the shadow shifts. over. Yeah, something like that. Sort of saturated orange between the shadow and the phrasing, like this sort of terminator with the shadow. We've got a few people watching. If you're looking to join in on the canvas, the instructions are in the screen description. I'm doing everything now with a fully opaque hard brush. Yeah, I've got my density set to shutter pressure. But light stroke is not going to come over yet. I'll shift some of those things. I just want to put the paint down, then we can start. Here as well, I want some of that orange. It's similar, but a little bit more towards the yellow orange. Let's go with okay, and then with this, okay, it's just blocking in ugly shapes for now. Get the folds in the fabric. Okay, let's cover this. The first shape that I see on fabric is this one. It's the easiest one to determine. It comes up from the bottom. It's sort of like a triangle shape. Now we can simplify this. There's a triangle shape over there. The brush is way too small for this. Yeah. Good. But it does bend a little bit. And then here, a little lighter or a little cooler. This one here. A little more saturation. So I'm trying to figure out folds, fabric. Like I said last week, try and almost establish a bit of a wireframe with your fabric, so that you can read what's happening a little bit easier. I'll zoom in a little bit. So if we look at, follow the sort of like direction of the planes here. Oh, that's not working because I'm set. Oops. Quite a strong brush. It comes all the way under and then comes up again, around. So we can draw these sort of guides to help us better understand how the shape is changing. Here it sort of comes down and then folds a little bit like that. Bunches over here. It's sort of line that goes to the back. So yeah, draw over your reference. It's helpful. Just draw on a circle there. Okay, just roughly let's get a little darker down here. There. Here as well. Don't go too much. As it's gotten darker, it's also gotten lighter in parts. So a little light here, obviously along this ridge. It goes back. This section here. That's back. Light on top here. Fades off as we work our way down. And this triangle here. So the colors aren't right. I want to make sure about my values. Values aren't quite there yet. We also need to add some light in here. Now the light seems to be a little cooler, over slightly. I want this to be subtle. Cool. Things are starting to look like something. There's shadow in here. It's like a triangle there. Oops, canvas refresh. Oh, now we can't color. What I think is in the chat? A mimic. Well, I would hope a little while. Why is my color picker not working? Hello. Lovely foot stomped. Why? Possibly. Ancient lemonade. I'm going to change back to it again later. This is lo-fi. Okay, so I'm going to go through these. Drop the volume. Okay, so now I mean, I've got a rough sense of shapes in here. They're not fantastic, not super neat, but I've got things in place. Ooh, this little black whack-a-mole thing there. But there's enough there for me to start rendering things out. Let's have a look at that. I know what I'm going to see here. First things first, I need to darken my value on this path a little bit. Move it down slightly. Just tricky. I'm just gaining this situation. There's a change. Yeah, that's probably too much. Up a little bit. I need to be a little darker. Even a little more. One little fold. Then we have some lights. Light is a bit previous size. Then desaturate and up in value slightly. And get. Oh, that's not enough. It's fun to work like this in grayscale. Now I've just changed the view to grayscale. So when I color pick, I'm still color picking from the color underneath. Right? Or the color, like here, the actual color version. It's not color picking the gray, but I know color is down and I need to work with a value shift in that color and maybe a temperature shift. So it's helpful to do this. Now I think I can start blending a little bit. Ooh, we can go a little lighter here. Let's come over, just a little bit. Not too much. I think I'm going to a little bit. Just to define the handle a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. Even here in the back, I can improve the values a little bit here. This things get a little darker, but this is why we start off working with very limited values. Don't go all the way to black, we don't go all the way to white, or at least the equivalent in value. I'll stop a little bit before, because you want to base everything on what is going on around things in adjacent areas. So I want to go darker because of what I'm seeing in certain parts. So like here, for example, if I look at my reference here, there's a very subtle difference in value. Really dark on the table, and it just ever so slightly goes lighter. We can zoom in a little bit. It is really dark when we're looking from a distance, but there's definitely a hard edge there. It's much darker. So I'm going to add in. It sort of intersects with the hair at the top. So this is the thing, right, with painting. If it's beginners here, there's a big chunk of time where things just look bad. You're not really happy with it. But as you start putting things down, if you've taken time to plan a little bit and you get your proportions more or less right, things are placed correctly, and you start putting down colors, they might not be perfect, but they could be close. Once you start putting information down, you can start to correct yourself based on what you've put there. So it's a bit of a discovery. You put things down, and you're like, okay, that doesn't quite work, and you start asking questions about what's in front of you, and start making adjustments. But you're making those adjustments by looking at the overall picture and what's happening in areas next to you where you feel like there's something wrong, and you're using everything as feedback and comparing that with a bit of lag there. Comparing with your reference, and gradually, as you correct, you put in the time, things will start to look like something. A long time to spend with myself. So, one, I'm a slow painter, and I always need to play catch up with my peers. But it's the time. Start putting more time, the things start coming a little quicker. It's a process. It's a journey, man. It's a journey. That's what I love about doing still life paintings. I haven't been painting a lot of my own stuff for a while, partly because of work, but partly because I'm dedicating a bit more time to just improving my painting ability. Doing studies like this, you can get great in the classroom. Figure things out. Okay, so now I can shift back to color. Let's start to blend some of these things into one another. There's some correction that can go on here actually before I do that. Go a little this way. Yeah, I just want to be good at painting now. It's all a process. Should be a little bit more saturated, I think. How are you doing there, Eyebrow? Are you still awake? I'm falling asleep at your drawing tablet. Let's get this line. I'm awake. I'm awake. And I know a lot of people want to just draw their OCs. Yeah. Get better drawing those. Acting with. It's good to put the time in. Time into still life painting. Okay, so I need to drop my opacity and my density a little bit so I can start massaging these tones together. Now, color pick a lot, which is why I have it set to my pen button. Absolutely. My OC, I'm drawing my OC right here. It's hidden in that pot, actually. This is my OC in an environment. He's hidden in the pot. Brush a little bigger, it's a little easier to smudge things around. So like I said, color picking a lot. So hands either going to be resting on that eyedropper shortcut quite a bit here. I like it. I like it. Okay, let's just smudging all of this together a little bit. Get more of that orange spread out, I think. A little more saturated in here. I'll come back to those lights. A little more saturated, a little orangerer. And oh, I can see my shape isn't quite right here. Smudging is, yes, that's a very technical term. You learn it after spending months perfecting your scraffing technique. And then you go smudging. But they don't teach you this at art school. And master train you in the art of smudging and scraffing. Okay, this could be a little darker down here, I think. Yes, it's almost like totally black here. Come a little bit. Let's check. You kind of lose the edge. This is another important part of painting, this thing of lost edges. Which I am still figuring out. I'm dabbing a lot here, where making like hard strokes, a lot of dabbing, just to light and very lightly, just so that I can gently nudge the colors into one another. Okay, and over here, same thing. But I do need to bring some light in here, so let's light is a bit cooler. But this is a very, there's a warmth here. Yep, you gotta check with that. Okay, so have I misunderstood the lighting? Actually, I think it's just that the color of this vessel is quite different. Let's come up a bit more. And I'm just gonna, it's a little harder to drop in little bit of that shape, and then lightly move over. Now to figure out the shape of these pears, lemon pears. Ooh, pear melons. Or melon pear. How do they call it? A melon pear. It's a quite a delicious little fruit. It's a real thing. I didn't make that up. Promise. Obviously quite sweet. Melon pear. Grows quite easily too. Apparently it's a similar family to is it to a tomato? Or is there some link to basil? I think it's similar family to tomatoes. So funnily enough. Branch off. Used to grow it in my garden for a little while. But it never used to yield much. Other people had far more success than I did. And though, a bit more cuttings of it. Indulge in superior fruit salad breakfasts. How are we doing for time here? We're approaching the 1 hour mark. Okay, so things have moved all right. Definitely what needs to improve is, so yeah, you part of when we did the rapid painting exercises thing was to limit your time spent on your subject so that you could one, get a good perspective of how much time you have, and then to get like feedback really quickly to assess what you could have done better. So right now I'm going to take a little step back, zoom out a little bit. Let's hide the sequence panel while I'm at it. Zoom out a little bit and assess. So the first thing I notice, one is that the darks, this little bowl actually seems a bit small the way I've done it. So possibly what I can change is to bring the level of the background down, but this should be a little bigger too. Okay, so I'll make a mental note of that. If I compare the levels here, I've definitely botched the size of things. So I could make that a little bigger. And also this cloth. No, it's fine. Some of these little things, it doesn't make too big of a deal. Some things will be way more noticeable than others, whether someone has seen the reference or not. Like how close certain things are placed together. It looks like they overlap in space. That's something our eyes will pick up quite easily. So the one thing here that I've got a bit wrong from the reference is just how much cloth there actually is here. It comes over quite a bit, so I'm going to add in a bit more. Taking stock. These shapes, maybe they definitely need to adjust the color. Could have a little bit more negative space here. I can do that by actually extending the bottom, because I haven't left sufficient space for that. So, when you're painting traditionally, you really like take a good long walk backwards to have a look at your painting. Where something like a Sorry, I'm hearing weird sounds. They're not in my head. It's, yeah, I was moaning about this on the stream on my own channel earlier today, that colors on my laptop are not, I don't feel very accurate. And typically the darks are much lighter, I think, than they should be. So maybe I need to just play around with the, at least when I'm painting. So maybe it's more my issue. I'm not going saturated enough. That's one strategy. Use your binoculars while sitting at your desk. Yeah, in reverse. Clever. So when you're working in some software, you know, you have you have your navigator window where you can easily get zoomed out perspective on things. Yeah, I'm sure that works. You can also switch maybe with your phone, maybe as well, in wide angle mode. Zooms out a little bit. Okay, what else? So I've definitely crunched things a bit over here. So maybe I'll extend a little bit beyond this. But what I also notice is that there's a bit more richness to this wood, a bit more saturation, orange, like a deep orange. And masters used to hold up mirrors to look at their paintings rather than flip the canvas. Yeah. Solid strategy. And if you do want to flip the canvas in Magma, H is the hotkey. We also have the button right up here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit because on the stream it's very small. So yeah, I want to add a bit of this more warmth into the wood here. And I want to extend. Let's bump up the opacity. Yeah, budget and access to these things. Unfortunately, I have a very high import tax here. So trying to get fancy gadgets can be tricky. They're going to be shipped across the world. But yeah, I've seen those little adjusters, and it's definitely something I want to invest in because I'm getting a little bit more finicky about color. Before, what I used to do was, and obviously we'd be finicky about color. Come on, we're artists. You know, I take stuff to the printer, and I'd always do a sample print of my pieces because I knew that the colors were a little bit off and contrast was a bit whack on my screen. So I'd do lay out a few images onto a single page that I want to have printed, and then print those out, assess those colors, and adjust based on that on my computer screen. Oops, that's not dark enough. And that's not right. Let's go into the greens here, perhaps. Darker. Yeah, always work in RGB. Not bad once I make the adjustments. But yeah, could probably save myself a step. So I haven't been working within my clipping group here anymore because I've shifted out of it. So what I could do here is maybe merge my layers in a moment. Merge down. Okay, there we go. No, that's actually not what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's fine. There's another approach. It takes a few extra clicks, which I don't need to worry about now. So this could also have a little bit more light in it. Let's make this smaller, lighter. Keeping things zoomed out. Oh, I'm painting on the wrong layer. This could explain part of my problems as well. There's a shadow in here. Breaks that up. Got a bit of light in there, but this is still a bit more pinkish. I'm gonna have to spend some time on this section because I've not done a very good job there. Okay, let's change tracks. I see we've got a few other people viewing on the stream. If you want to jump in and paint with us, you're welcome to. We have instructions in the stream description. Painting with us. Cozy hangout and paint. Aha, something else I'm seeing with shapes. This is a little bit more vertical over here. Little things. Not super important. Aha, it is indeed. Oh, wrong brush. You know, this is kind of enough now. I can start layering in some more shadow as well. There are other approaches here. Use additional layers to sort of like multiply to create shadow layers, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to keep it all on one. I definitely need to go darker in here. So let's shift that down and gradually make it darker. Gradually. Yeah. We've got, we still got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I'm sure others who can paint faster than me would be able to knock this out in far less than an hour. Or the 2 hours that I'm now taking on it. So there's roundness here on the bottom in this bowl, of course. So I'm just going to try and get that. Oops, that was a little too light. Wrong brush. Comment there. Well, I mean, you can certainly add in a little drop or two of blood in there. Add to the susness of the scene. Blood's an interesting one to try and paint. Jonathan Hardesty, in his Understanding Textures course in Schoolism, covers it to make sure that, if it is a thicker kind of blood, that it has that almost sticky look to it. Or maybe we can get a little graphic here. Am I on the right layer? I am on the right layer. Okay, then there's some shadows in here, which I haven't brought in, just to define the shapes of these pairs. Shapes of these pairs. Here. And we have here. So this should be bigger too. As painting, we use edge and change in value and various other things to define edges. We have a brown stalk, which you can hardly see for this area here. And there's a bit of warmth in here, so let's give it a bit more saturation. Shift over. Make it a little darker, a little more saturated. And here as well, we've got that warmth. And we've got this jug and various other warm things in the environment, so it is going to add to that. And I need this dark color again. Okay. Oh, it's still very messy. There was something I wanted to do. I need to go darker here. Darker coming around and out a little bit more. Well, there we go. There's that spooky crime music. Yeah, need to blink and look away a little bit and stretch. Maybe at the 1 hour mark, I actually need to have a bit of a bouncy track just to get blood moving, arms moving, feet tapping, just to, yes, get blood pumping again. Here, this peachiness, it's pretty orange. Let's see. Now let's go pinker than that. They're poisoned. They must be poisoned. This is meant to gain a bit of saturation here. I don't know why. I desaturated things, funnily enough. And we have shadow here. What's actually going on with this shadow here? It does gain saturation. So let's take this, shift over, come in, down, little subtle changes. So just trying to get my shapes right. Endless struggle. Not a struggle, but an endless focus. So I'm playing things out well to start. So this is pretty dark here. I've got to establish this shadow too, right? So let's this whole section is in shadow. It comes into this very dark space over here. A little bit of these darks in here too. And then here, it's slowly. Should shift a little further over towards something pinkish. Should get lighter. This is yellower. I didn't think this fabric folded through properly. So I'm pretty much going to be quiet for a little while, figure this out. It's not too much to say and explain right now. From poisoned to our only hope. These are some misunderstood pairs. So this whole should be a bit more orange. You really shouldn't be staying up so late for these for these streams. We'll get our streams happening, more streams happening at more suitable times. Soon enough. Soon enough. We're working on a plan. It's just gonna take time. Oh, you're really struggling with this one. Really struggling. That's what we're here to do. We're here to struggle. Struggle in the classroom. It's not so. If I zoom out far, it's all right. It's all right. There's lots of little patterns in here. So I want to check my colors here because I don't trust what I've done. Yeah, it's a little bit over. So it's actually a little lighter than what I've brought in. To bring that orange and a bit of reflection that's coming in here. Part of what's lightening this section up. I mean, there's quite a small detail to focus on right now. These are the things you kind of get into over time, and why I've actually grown to love these still lifes. Loving still life painting is not something I expected for myself. But I do, it's fun. Maybe bring a little bit of light into this background. Not too much, just a subtle. I want to get a little bit more of this violet-y streak. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but I want to bring it out. Lighten up a little bit on the side. Let's go here. I'm going to change the music while I'm at it. Part 2 of that track. Lighten up here. Just to find the shadows a little bit more. I want to contrast a bit more in the background. Be a small detail I should be dealing with later, but let's put it now. So here we are. Just a little bit towards the edges. I could probably darken this section here. Just slightly. Pencil. Or no, what is that actually that I'm switching to? Yes, it's pixel pencil. Interesting. I have two shortcuts on that. Darn it. Using keys on my tablet. Ooh. It's too small. Okay. Details. Button. So I'm resisting the temptation to go and start adding in these little details on the jug. Still a little bit too soon actually to do that. I feel like there's still stuff I'm correcting. Trying to get right first. Like, how dare I think about adding finer details when I haven't fixed the fabric yet, this cloth. I think it was Nexus who suggested at some point we should do studies of clouds. That'll be a fun one to do sometime. So this could be a little darker. This is in the shadow area, but I've put a little too much light on it. I don't think I've really tried my hand at painting clouds, so it should be interesting. That's what these sessions are for. So even though tackling subject matter that I'm not familiar with, I am quite confident that what we've covered in our sort of fundamental lessons from the beginning, covering all the things, values and shapes in particular, I think there is sufficient understanding to tackle any subject matter. Even if you're not super good at these things, there's enough information to try. Let's go darker with this. Go darker, Ryan. Go darker. There we go. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Contrast used to make me so nervous. Still sometimes does. Where I take a while to bring in a bit of contrast. Some people start with it much sooner. Much stronger value relationships and contrasts early on. Oh, that's too strong. Clearly I've listened to this a little too much. Let's go with green here in the background. I shouldn't be faffing with the background. What am I doing? What am I doing? Unnecessary things. Okay, it's because I'm avoiding fixing problems in the piece. As my cap is blocking out all the light from above me. Put it down. The pears believe in you. Yeah, it's funny picking up on when you're being resistant, or you're being a little nervous about a particular part of the painting, a particular subject matter. Hey, you gotta lean into it. You gotta lean into it. Like these pears are not. They're not at the best yet, either. Strong edge there. Haven't seen. So it's just Abral and Ruddick, the champions. Ooh, we're looking very nice, Ruddick. Yeah. That jug and those pears. Ooh, Abral. Nice. Ooh, I see you've been playing with the our texture brushes there. Very cool. That sort of what is this sort of watercolor-ish brush that Bobby Chu made. It works so well for this type of background. Who knows? Maybe we'll have some more fun brushes one of these days for people to play with. Maybe. So yeah, let's see. I want to get this shape right. Yeah, pastel crown type brush, definitely. I think it lets a bit more of the background come through. Okay, I think it's time for me to start adding a few details here. Will we be able to upload image brush stamps in the future to make our own brushes? That is a good question. I think it's something that we would like to be able to provide. When that'll be, cannot say. But perhaps. With our brush engine the way it is right now, that something like that isn't. It's not going to be possible for people to do on their own. But we're growing. We're growing this thing. There's lots we want to build into Magma still. A lot of stuff. A lot of core features and some various other interesting things. Which we'll get to. Just all takes time. Time and resources. And we are a small team, relatively. Almost. It's coming. It is in progress. A lot of work going into that. Interesting little bugs that come up. So we want to make sure it's in a good state before we bring that out, right? So I think it's time for another shift in music in a moment. Let's start adding some detail in here, I think. Where are we at? We have half an hour. Cool. I'm actually glad I decided to extend my initial plan here. Let's go with this. I took a crash at this earlier, and I had some plans for how to approach it a little better this time around, which I didn't follow. I want to work with the lasso full to start things off, because I could get in the shapes a little quicker, but I decided not to do that this time. Well, I forgot I wanted to do that. It wasn't a decision. yeah, I'm sure people are going to be very happy with a text tool coming out in the future sometime. Especially for those in the Magma community who are comic creators or making webtoons and things like that. Oops, should be doing this in clean strokes. Maybe what I can do here is rotate a little bit so I can get a more comfortable arm movement. Unfortunately, my chair is a little low and my desk a little high for this kind of drawing tablet. It's really big. It takes up a lot of space. Shoulder. Gonna need a good long stretch. Oh, there's a little stalk there I didn't see either. That. How are we getting somewhere? Add the little details. Render away my inaccuracies. Well, I'm glad this stream has not it's not gotten stuck on me today, which is good. Well, yeah, it sometimes happens during the classroom. Only one canvas refresh. Past attendees will know I would very calmly rage about frequently on a time. So part of my problem here is that this doesn't come in enough. Here it should as well. Before getting to this piece here. A little messy, a little messy. Dent in here. I'll try to find some smaller shapes, things I can add in. definitely a bit more red in this section. Top of this pair. It's exaggerated a bit. Let's get some more yellow. No, that needs to be more of an orange yellow. More. Maybe one of our next still lives will include a skull. I've got one on my PureF board here waiting to be attempted. So maybe we'll bring that in next time. It'll be a little bit of value towards the classrooms with Udi, who's doing character design. A little bit of work on the skull. I'm sure it will help with all the stuff that he's sharing in there. His last one on Tuesday was about painting eyes, or drawing eyes rather. Painting. Hey, Mountain Pirate, welcome. Ah, no, I didn't. Did you post those on the Discord server? Ahoy, ahoy. Speaking of ahoy, Eyebrow inadvertently suggested Space Pirates for one of our next Clubhouse sessions. I wonder if maybe that one needs to also go on a weekend. I'm sure a lot of people will be keen on that one. Ah, Vanishing Shade Art. Okay. Nah, unfortunately I missed those. I do check frequently, but I must have missed them. There's just so much stuff being shared. So it's easy to lose. Yeah, my anatomy is not great either. What we used to do at Varsity was, like we did our timed still life studies in one of our previous sessions. We used to do timed, like gesture drawings, very limited time, and the model would move every 60 seconds. Roundabout, sometimes less than that, often less than that actually. We'd start off the day, the model would move very quickly. We wouldn't have a lot of time, but we just needed to capture weight. So maybe what we can do is get a series of poses and do some time sketches. It'll make for a fun exercise. I think actually that's something we should do next time. I'm avoiding anatomical things at the moment, so let's just lean into it. Lean into it. Yeah. I feel like I might be inclined to take the push-ups rather than have to draw the hands. No, must draw more hands. Must draw more hands. So Ahmed Al-Duri has a fantastic, I think he's done it with hands, but he's got the Meds 50 heads, or the 50 heads challenge. I think it started off with 100 heads, and then came down to 50, and it was another iteration. And you've got a Pinterest board with a bunch of portraits of people, photos, and the idea is to do 50 heads in, I think it was 10 days, if I'm not mistaken. So that's quite nice. You guys spend quite a bit of time. Yeah, I've never finished it either. I wonder, maybe there's a way to incorporate that into the Clubhouse. I mean, into the classroom. My station's confused. But then I think he's done one with hands as well. It's a good exercise. Like Jake Parker speaks about this. Not quite as a practice thing, but this idea of draw 100 somethings. So draw like 100, like it's just a set of 100 hands, not in one day, but really get into drawing and painting the same thing and iterations of the same thing, variations of it, so you can really get familiar. Different sort of looks, different types of hands, young hands, older hands, different poses of the hand. Those are good sort of exercises. Do the same with a spoon if you want to. Draw 100 spoons. I think where the way he was speaking about it was more from the angle of creativity and coming up with ideas or trying new things, because once you've drawn, let's say you've got to do, you have a theme that you're working with, space dog. Initially you come up with maybe some like obvious drawings and paintings around that theme. Then as you have to draw more, you have to dig a little deeper to find more interesting and unique ideas. And so the draw 100 somethings thing comes in. Try and draw like 100 spoons. You're going to get tired of drawing the same looking spoon if it's got like no detail on it, for example. Then we start looking into old like antique spoons from different parts of the world. Bit of an obscure thing to research, but then you start to see like all kinds of different ways that a spoon can be. It's got a neat idea. So you got to draw the same thing repeatedly. That's why I like those timed exercises as well that we covered. Just spend time like drawing a bunch of different apples. You start playing with different color combinations. There's different details you start to notice. Do enough of it, and you can do it straight out of your pip. You won't even need reference. All right, Eyebrow. Thank you so much for for joining. I hope you enjoyed the still life, and I hope you get some decent sleep. I hope you don't have to wake up early tomorrow for anything. Appreciate you being awake so late for this. And last night as well, in the Clubhouse. Respect. Cheers, man. So we've got about 15 minutes left for tonight, or today, wherever you be. Don't believe the pairs, no matter what they say. Dangerous whispers. Yeah, draw 100 somethings. Great for filling up a sketchbook, that's for sure. I haven't spent much time in a little while. I've been doing a lot of digital stuff, busy with other work, not really spending any time in my sketchbook. Not good, not good. Perhaps this weekend I'll thinking about town. I normally don't like to go and sketch out in public. Feel a little too much on the spot. Let's change the music again. Let's do piano set again. Wind down. Drawing out in public and then getting the, oh, did you draw that while you hold the pencil and sketchbook in your hand? I did indeed draw this, that which you see. We used to spend sometimes a full week on a still life, probably quite similar to this in art school. Okay, maybe not similar to this, a bit more complex. There are a few more objects around, dangling, creating interesting shadows, different types of surfaces. And for the whole week, we'd sit and paint these things. And the good thing about it, spending that much time, is that sometimes you get to the point you're like, okay, that's good enough. I think that's all right. And you don't realize just how much more work you could do, how much more you could refine. Yeah. So I think it's good to have, when you've got that allocated time, and obviously with varsity or in a classroom setting, you're forced to spend that full amount of time on that subject, because you got to be in class. They're not going to change the still life for you if you think you're done with it. Some people would go off and be like, yeah, well, I'm not coming back to class until next week. But if you carry on, keep finding ways to refine certain details. Like here, I mean, okay, that still looks pretty messy. So you can obviously go in tighter. And if we look at our reference here, we've got these. You've got the lines, obviously, along the top here that's more distinct. What do we call these? Bumps in the road. And then you have these more subtle, wave-like ripple that's way gentler along the surface as well. So you could start adding in all those little things. But it takes time. I mean, right now, this looks a long way from even touching some of those things. But we'd also then spend more time planning out the piece, so there's less correcting going on like I'm doing now. Fun times. This little section here is bugging me. Tiny little detail. but it bugs me. Okay, 10 minutes out. Keeping an eye on the time. So let's see, what can I improve here? This underside here could definitely be a little lighter, a little cooler. There as well. A little bit in there. Here. Itchy chin. I'm also open to people suggesting, if you are watching, suggesting in our classroom Discord channel, if you come across if you've been searching on Twitter, or on Pinterest, or anywhere you come across, or you set one up yourself, you've come across a nice still life that you would like to suggest that we tackle, then do feel free to share that, and we can spend some time on the subject, on that still life. Stuff with different materials. How did you get notified? Okay, so I know today I was a little late with putting it out there, but then there's usually a reminder that goes out on Discord, and yeah, YouTube I think sends a notification if you've got your notifications on at the time the stream goes live. But yeah, I do need to just plan out a few sessions ahead of time for the next few weeks so that people can see, okay, this is when stuff's happening. Because we've been playing around with some slight time changes. But what I'm going to do next week, we're going to have the same time slot as now for Thursday, which is, let's see, I think it's 10 a.m. Central Daylight. And then the next one, we'll do one on Monday, actually, which will be geared towards our users in Europe. So more for like after work time for them, so around 6 p.m. Central European time. Yeah, so because that's time I can still. I don't know if maybe a lunchtime thing is better for the Europe crowd. I don't know. Well, I'll test another time there as well. But I figured either after work or lunchtime thing for Europe on Mondays. I might actually do it more of a lunchtime stream so that I'm not always kind of working after hours. As much as I enjoy doing this, we do have quite a few late nights already in a week. So if we do a afternoon, my afternoon, lunchtime Central Europe, that also makes a decent time, I think, for our Southeast Asia audience. It starts going into the evening, later in the afternoon. Oh, interesting that you didn't get the notification on Discord once you said that you were interested. You need to get one. You need to get one just before. I'll look into that. I wonder why. But we try not to ping people too much. So, what's another strategy? Perhaps one can set the notifications for specifically the classroom channel. And when I post there, then you can get pinged about it. Because I tend to turn off notifications from most channels. Otherwise, phone is perpetually going off. But then I'll put in if people know that they're going to get pinged, or if they set the notifications, I don't actually have to ping anyone. Set the notifications for that channel, then you should be fine. Guess this is okay. What I've got here it could be better, but I did okay. The point is not necessarily to get a perfect painting. It's more just to, I mean, obviously, if you want to get a perfect painting, that's cool too, but it's more to just go through the thinking and analyzing process. Is this color warmer? Is it and get all that wrong? I might keep the subjects a little simpler next week. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe it'll be something of a similar level to this. Because instead of 2-hour sessions, we'll do 1-hour sessions. So I thought of it as a lunch hour thing. And gives us another opportunity for some people in a different time zone to join. Cool. So my eyes need a break. And we are officially done with the stream for this evening, or this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining. My tablet just told me I need to get up and stretch. Like I said, next week we'll do 2 sessions, 2 1-hour sessions, one on Monday. I will put out information tomorrow about the time for that, and then we'll do one on Thursday as well. We'll do another still life study, I think, before maybe trying something a little different. Maybe do those cloud studies that some people have suggested, and yeah, that's all from me. I think if you are catching the stream later and somehow you're listening all the way to the end now, congratulations. But if anyone picks up on it right at the end, you are welcome to still join the canvas at any time, claim one of the canvases for yourself, whoops, and take a crack at these. Our time limit for this one was 2 hours. You don't need to spend that long on it if you don't feel you need to. You can obviously spend more time if you want to get a more rendered image. So yeah, and do share your work on the Discord server as well. Share with people what you've done, what you're able to accomplish in the time. Yeah, I will stop talking now and roll out. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and I will see you again next week. Whoops.